Okay, just while we set this up, maybe if I did say at the beginning there were going to be a lot of numbers. So maybe just some takeaways there. You know, this piece of research, which is ongoing, and Kim said there will be one coming out of the UK, out of Turkey. We're looking to do another one on sales with Walmart in the US, and Unilever, their Magnum ice cream brand, will be doing a sales one in the US. Brazil and China as well will be doing some more. But one of the key things on this is that it's not just about brand awareness or purchase intent. It's the first piece of research that has been able to correlate spend on advertising, spend on mobile, to what happened to my product, how much of it went out the store. And we're doing more and more of that because I'm sure a number of you, whether you're in the vendor side, in the technology data analysis side, or whether you're at the marketeer brand side or the creative side of our mobile ecosystem, at the end of the day, being able to give a return on investment, tangible, as I said earlier, to your CMO, CEO, CFO, we think becomes a significant game changer. So, talking of significant game changers, I'm going to ask the panel here a couple of questions. Because we're very conscious that whilst, as I said earlier, it's taken 2 years and $2 million of investment, and we can see the fruits of that labor in the slides we've presented, for both these companies and both these guys here, you know, there's been a lot of selling of this internally. So, my first question, Marc, if it's all right if I start with you. In terms of the Mastercard getting involved with the SMoX, study, what was the thing that was driving, internally, what was driving the need to have a study like this, both from a sort of capability perspective and from an insight perspective?
Okay. As you know, our head of digital globally, he was actually involved in one of the first studies that came before, I forgot the name of it, but it was a digital display study. So that was before there was even mobile marketing was even on the horizon. So that must have been back in 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
So, and he was instrumental in that study, which helped to demonstrate the fact that people should do digital marketing, digital advertising. And we all know where that ended up, so 10, 15 years later. And the driver behind this is that we really need to educate our leadership within the organization, the people that are holding the budgets, the business, about the importance of mobile marketing and the importance of allocating the correct budgets to mobile. So without data, without the effectiveness studies, without the appropriate research, which doesn't exist, as you mentioned before, we're really nowhere. So this is the first study done on a multinational basis with multinational brands that can really demonstrate the effectiveness of this medium.
Okay, and Kim, a global brand, global footprint, city to city as you travel yourself, how does it help change things internally?
I'm not going to lie and say that it's changed things overnight, and it's not going to happen tomorrow. It takes us beating a drum, a constant drum, but the more we can point to that and the more data we can show them that proves that fact and makes it more clear for them, because I think that's the big point, is that we can show them that it's more effective, but what in it is more effective, exactly. Tell them so that you educate them, because then when they're talking to their media agencies, they're calling their media agencies onto the carpet and saying, no, this is what I want because this is what I know is going to deliver and meet my objectives. So it's back to being marketers, right? And using data and making informed decisions.
Right, okay. And in terms of the results themselves, either one of you, was there any what were the major surprises that came out when you saw the final results?
From our end, again, I think there's a point where, as digital marketeers, we know that it's important to have a digital mix and that mobile is an important part of it. But I think the surprises are really coming to the management and those that maybe aren't so close to digital marketing. At the end of the day, those are the ones that you need to influence, that you need to educate. So back to what Kim said, it's beating the drum, showing the data, and also highlighting to those that we are seriously underspending on mobile. There's a lot of debate as well within organizations probably today. So do you split out your digital marketing budget and have a mobile marketing budget as well? Would you just have a marketing budget? So those are some of the questions that we need to start asking ourselves as a result of the study. So when we talk about just mobile, let's focus on those 3 mobile channels as we did in the results that I showed. And then you also have your digital tactics as well, which are equally important. But thinking about mobile as a category is something that we're not doing at the organization.
Okay, and surprises from?
Yeah, I think there's two big things. One, it's interesting that neither one of us have mobile in our title, but we're talking mobile, right? So mobile is digital, marketing is digital, marketing is mobile. So it's really all-encompassing. But in the numbers themselves, specifically on the Chinese New Year campaign, what was interesting was the difference between the digital video and the mobile video. I mean, it was a big leap. It wasn't just a little bit or a couple of numbers. There was a drastic difference there. And taking that to our brand managers and to our content teams and making them get really clear and understand, okay, you can't just hand me your TVC to put on the desktop and then hand me that to ensure that you're going to be really relevant on the mobile device. So it's taking it all the way back up the ladder and making informed decisions on how we're approaching our agencies and what agencies are we involving to gather that content or gather that video or create all those content pieces that are needed at the very end.
And Kim, I think without any intent, you kind of shamed me, which
Oh,
was
I understand.
because if you look at the TV ad, if we look at the ad that I showed here before, what we did at Mastercard, because we work that way, and so the agency created a TV ad that we put on display mobile. We didn't create a mobile ad. So when
Neither
you said
did
it, so when you were showing your ad, which was a little bit shorter, which was a bit
We just
more,
put digital images in our ads.
but that's one of the examples, right? So if you really take a huge step back, so 2 years ago, our ad was created by a big agency. We spent a lot of money, and it was a TV production ad. It's not a mobile video ad. And that was one of the things that you reminded me that we need to think.
But I think what's
for
important
mobile.
to see is that TVC was still effective.
Yeah.
Right, so we're not saying get rid of the TVC, we're just saying when you're capturing all of the content and all of the creative with the TVC, you need to keep in mind that end result of what you're going to do with it on mobile and how you're going to be relevant on the mobile device.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just talk a little bit then about the sort of the process or the challenges you have internally, because obviously, the MMA is using SMoX as a opportunity to build knowledge and understanding and confidence in the marketplace, and you're, doing the same within your own companies. So is there anything in the research or the results that either you or your colleagues are pushing back on or don't agree with or sort of feel, not so sure, anything, let's make it a little edgier than it's all great stuff, which I'm sure it is, but where are the pain points or the disagreements?
I think what we need to do is extend the research a bit to other markets. So obviously we need to, there's a funding question mark, et cetera. But for us, it's important to continue with this research, continue pushing it out to other markets. That's going to be the biggest pushback. My market's different. We're not like the U.S., et cetera. But I think that there's a lot more similarities between markets than people think.
I'm probably going to be a little bit more provocative and say to Coca-Cola, because I think when we first brought SMoX internally, a lot of our brand managers or a lot of our content managers said, well, we don't do the media, that's our media agency, right? So it was a lot of pointing of fingers, or the media money is handled at the market. So in order to even begin to give this campaign to you so you can measure it, you need to go talk to the agency. And it became very clear that there's a disconnect there, right? And one, we need to educate and create an expectation of our media agencies that this is what we expect and you need to deliver. And then two, there's a miss with our brand managers and our teams that they need to begin educating the media teams almost, or set that expectation level, that expectation bar. So it was hard to get it started because of that. It was very fragmented internally. So that's part of the problem as well. Is it's not an easy beast. But I think we're getting there. Now, Tom Daly has been working for years to try to get this activated. We finally got the results from 2. We're halfway through the 3rd one, which is the one in the UK. And so far, I think we're already surprised by the midterm results on that. And then we have 2 others or 3 others that are waiting in the wings to do it. So it's moving in the right direction. It's not going to just change overnight.
No. So I think the understanding that, I think the next question then sort of falls into that, because the study that Marc was referencing before was in the IAB US, where there was a study done about digital share of advertising, which helped grow the market. So we believe the MMA globally, as we've done this in many countries, and great being here in Madrid today, that we're trying to understand what effect a study like this shared in the market, shared with all parts of the ecosystem, could have on the market itself. Do you have any insight as to how what it can change within the advertiser, even the overall ad market, I suppose?
Well, as you know, we brought in the MMA into our global team.
Yeah.
So we're taking kind of a top-down approach. So if we can get the buy-in of our executive and our executive leadership, our CMO, then it's really going to be much more effective, because at the end of the day, when the marketing plans come in and the marketing budgets come in, he's going to be asking the right questions about, well, how much are you allocating to the different mediums?
Right.
So for us, it's important to use both at the top and also at the local market, so they understand where this is coming from.
I think twofold. One, it's going to force some clarity and transparency that's needed in the industry with respect to mobile. So I keep mentioning it, and I'll keep mentioning it, is that it's too fragmented right now, and it's too complicated for our marketers to get their head around and truly understand. When you're activating a campaign for 3 months, you can't spend 6 months trying to figure out what needs to be involved in that. You just can't. So I think that's one, is it's going to force that somehow we need to begin getting some clarity, getting some ease of how it's described and how people understand it, and some transparency with our media agencies. So we're clearly understanding what, they say, yes, we've activated 4% to mobile. Well, tell me exactly what portions, what did you activate in mobile and what was more effective, and allow that to be a bit more real time, where I can adjust that midterm and affect the campaign midterm and do it real time versus just reading the results 3 months later and not being able to do anything about it.
Right.
Internally, I think that it's setting a bar where they now have a source where they can say, hey, Tom, what are the numbers, or can you give me more information on this? And it's setting that expectation internally as well.
Okay. So maybe we just open it a bit more broadly, because you've given us some insight into SMoX and how that works within your organization. But in terms of the current mobile strategies that you have, without giving us any state secrets or anything else, do you want to just give the audience here sort of some insight into the mobile strategy that you're moving towards or currently implementing as a sort of top line or philosophy that you've got towards mobile?
You want me to go first?
Yes. Go ahead.
I'm struggling because I'm too honest for my own good sometimes. If I'm honest, somebody asked me this question earlier, and I said my honest answer is, my recommendation for a mobile strategy is to stop thinking of it as a mobile strategy.
Yeah. Okay.
And start looking at it honestly as, what is your marketing strategy and what objectives are you meeting through mobile, right? And so it goes back to, again, being marketers and making informed decisions. So that being said, our mobile strategy right now is really about going back to basics and ensuring that when we build mobile or we do mobile, we're doing something that is not only scalable, but is sustainable long term. Coca-Cola being a global company, we do some amazing stuff on mobile in very cool pockets, so there's great stuff. I'm not saying we're not doing mobile and cool stuff, but my focus, being digital capabilities and infrastructure, is looking at how do we build something that is not only scalable, but sustainable, and that we stop wasting money on building stuff and tearing it down and not kind of building some ROI into that.
So within Mastercard, I think we're very much on the beginning of the journey with respect to mobile. So obviously, doing these studies, educating about optimal media mix is one bit of it. The other part I think that you're asking is about our mobile strategy as well, in terms of app development, about where we are within thinking about mobile as an opportunity for Mastercard. So Mastercard, at the end of the day, is a technology company. We don't issue cards. We provide the rails. So we're a technology company that enables transactions and enables payment services. So mobile is going to be transformational for our organization, and we know that, and we're transforming, and we're going through the web transformation process. With respect to consumer marketing, where I sit, mobile is going to be playing an important role in engaging with our consumers. But we're very much at that beginning stage. One of the things that we're doing first is we're actually shutting down a lot of the stuff that we have, because we have about 150 applications worldwide, and none of them are connected, none of them are following brand guidelines, all the typical stuff that you would probably see in a multinational. So we're cleaning the house first, and now we're going through a filtering process when any new ideas are launched by the markets to make sure that they meet at least the minimum basic requirements and that we have approval all the way through the top actually. So we're very restrictive in what is going out because we've seen and learned that a lot of what we've done hasn't been terribly successful, and we need to be relevant for consumers. So just because a brand manager has an idea of launching an app doesn't necessarily mean it's a good reason to have an app.
Okay. You've been told.
Yeah.
So, okay. So now that we're here in Madrid and we're in Spain, and you guys obviously global companies, European footprints, any similarities between what you see in other European countries and Spain, or any differences actually that you'd like to share in the audience, just generally around mobile, not necessarily around SMoX or anything?
So one of the things that I've seen is on the e-commerce side. I think that Spain has a long way to go in terms of e-commerce. I think it's changing quickly, but I still think that the conversion rates are much lower than in other countries. So I think there's a long way to go. Apple Pay, Samsung Pay will be coming soon to this market, so I think that that's going to help to transform that. But the idea of paying online, I think, is something that needs to has a long runway to go.
Kim, any similarities, differences you'd like to?
So being new to Western Europe and much closer to the markets, what I've noticed is there's much more similarities than differences.
Okay.
I think we have a lot of marketers or a lot of markets who say, it's made here kind of mantra, so it has to be different. And what we're seeing is that no, actually, when you take away the pretty picture on top and you start looking at the objectives down below and what they're trying to achieve and how they're achieving it, it's very similar, right? They're either looking for purchase intent, they're looking for awareness, right? They're looking back for that funnel, and they have very clear objectives on what they're wanting to do. So how do we utilize that and bring scale to it?
Okay. And then sort of following on from that a little bit, I think, is that probably in the audience here, we have a number of companies who offer solutions or vendors or sales or technology or data and all of that and the like. In terms of, in order to maybe prevent everybody descending on you two guys as soon as we finish here, what would be your sort of, what do you want from solutions and vendors in the market? I think, Kim, you mentioned fragmentations.
That's my answer. It'll be the answer till for another 6 months, at least, unless everybody can go and fix it tomorrow, is we have to get rid of the fragmentation. It's too much.
Yeah. To add to that, I think for us, from my point of view, one of the things is to be more clear and concise and precise in what it is that your solutions are offering. It's very hard for people who are buying or purchasing your services to understand exactly what you're doing, and you try to differentiate, but you make it overly complex, so it goes back to that complexity. And what we need is simplicity. We just need a solution that works. So taking away that fragmentation, offering a solution, perhaps end-to-end, but very clear, simple to use solution, and taking away that pain point of us ending up having 16, 20 vendors for a single campaign. Okay, great. Well, let's just do a couple of things about your own mobile capabilities, knowledge, or what you sort of do with your favorite apps you'd like to share with the audience, the ones you use. Functional app? One
probably
you can't
most
do
functional
without?
right now is that we cannot handle the loads of emails, so we're we're very effective right now on Slack and WhatsApp.
Oh, okay.
Which is really kind of interesting. That we don't even, you can't keep up with the email. So to get things done, we're utilizing those types of functional apps.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're, favorite functional apps, booking tools, travel tools, those are all super useful and very slick, so I think they've gone a long way, and I use them all the time.
Anything unusual you've come across in the last month or two?
There's an app called Elevate. I don't know if everybody's seen Elevate, but now that I have a nice long tube ride, I use this app called Elevate, and it's just kind of gets me out of thinking about everything else and have to focus and increase my brain power, apparently. But it's just beautifully done, and it grows with you the more you learn about it, and it just seems to be a really nice app, and it's a nice escape from all the craziness.
And what's it doing, or what are you?
Well, you're testing yourself and you're increasing your vocabulary or you're increasing how fast you can read. It has there's a whole bunch of different things.
Self-improvement.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Text messages. How many text messages a day?
Text.
You still doing text?
No.
Or IM, WhatsApps, Slacks?
WhatsApps.
I think it's how many messaging apps do I have on my phone, and right now I think I have 8 that are all active messaging apps.
Okay. And are you in the 150 times a day
Without a
your
doubt.
phone?
Without a
Or
doubt.
more? Way above. Yeah, we're all way above. Okay. So let's just bring this to an end. Let's maybe look at one. If there's one piece of advice, given we've got a number of different companies and the like in the audience, I know we've given some words of wisdom already, but if there's one piece of advice you'd like to share today, not SMoX related, generally mobile, anything related, is there anything?
For me, it would be keep it open. Open in terms of your pitching, open in terms of the code. APIs are good.
Okay.
So open is good.
In almost the same way, it's challenge, and that's challenge everything. People come with, I have the answer to this, I have the answer to this. Nothing is bulletproof today, right? So you definitely have to challenge everything, and then if you can break through just a little bit, you'll find that you can then, go to a whole nother world.
Okay, brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for Kim and Marc for their presentations and for their panel.
Thank you.